Good morning or good afternoon, whatever it is you're taking the time to stop by and see this video. I appreciate so much you taking time to stop by. Today I am doing a kind of a large food prep to go in the freezer, stuff I'm pulling out of the freezer as part of the, because I rooster again, he hears me. He's got amazing ears. Do chicken have ears? Okay, side note, let's go on. I'm taking stuff out of the freezer, cooking it and putting it back in as part of the meal prep because I'm more likely to go in there and get the food that's already been pre-cooked as convenience and use it. So I'm basically making convenience meals, but at least it's going to be used up. So anyway, I will be doing also a breakfast item, some dinners. Let's see, 2 different dinners. I'm actually going to show you a list. I finally got a whiteboard. I put it up on my wall in the kitchen so I can keep more. I can pay attention more when I'm doing because I forget so much all the time. But in writing it on a piece of paper, I lose it. This way I won't. But anyway, I'll show you what I'm doing. So let's go ahead. I've rambled enough. Get started this video. Like I said, I'm still working. I think today is the 14th of January. It's basically going into the second week of the Pantry Freezer Cleanout Challenge. We're slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. So let's get this day started. Alright guys, starting off this prep day making sausage biscuits, but I'm doing them in the form of sausage balls because that is a whole lot simpler than trying to make biscuits on my own, which you've heard me say before. This old Southern girl cannot make a homemade biscuit worth squat, but I think this will do, guys. This will do. Alright guys, so here is the first batch. I think this is really going to be a good idea for an alternative for breakfast because it is a sausage and cheese biscuit. It's just looks a little different. Let's get these in the oven and get another batch going. So going in the freezer, pulling out stuff from it I used. I've got a lot of sausage I need to use. Well, I need to use it anyway because that's what Richard eats for breakfast. So I'm like, you know, I've got some Bisquick. It's the Walmart brand that I need to use up as well. And you know, I don't want to buy money. I don't want to spend money on, what do you call it? On biscuits because I've gotten ridiculous. So I'm like, let's just go ahead and do this instead. So actually I'm just going ahead and I'm getting all of my sausage. I'm going to use this in my mixer. It's the first time doing it. I've already got that one batch in the oven. This is the second one, but I have found if I break up this sausage, it just goes in there easier. Y'all, I'm loving my mixer. I am absolutely loving it. I cannot believe I've gone this many years without it. So I'm just going to get all that in there, kind of break it up. Yeah, break it up, and then I'm going to add my cheese and my Bisquick mix to it. But first, I got to wash my hands, get them cleaned. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to come over there, put it in the mixer after I add my 2 cups of Bisquick mix, baking mix, whatever. I know you can, by the way, make this on your own. Yes, trust me, I know. It's just that if I can get this at a good price, and I got it at a real good price, I'm using it. And like I said, anything with homemade biscuits, I can't make them more squat, y'all. I really can't. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get this mixing. Not too high. Oh y'all, I'm serious. Like I said, I'm having so much fun with this. So while this is mixing up, it's going to take about 2 or 3 minutes maybe. Let me go ahead and show you what else I've got going. This here is what is on my list to do today. I don't know whether I'm going to get it all done. This is what I was supposed to have done yesterday, but I had to go in town to the doctor's office to drop my husband's wallet off. Anyway, I'm making 80 burgers tonight. I'm doing meatballs with Italian sausage. Those are going to be for subs. Meatloaf cups. I need to go ahead and grab the blueberries out. Sausage balls. I can go ahead and mark this off because I'm doing that now. That's one thing I've got marked off. I'm going to fry some sausage patties up. I'm going to be making an applesauce cake with no eggs, which you're going to see today. I'm going to try to use something that I've got instead of eggs, see if how that works out. I'm making blueberry muffins. I need to work on jar covers. I need to work on my jar covers, on remaking them because they are faded out. They're like 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. They look horrible. I actually did get some new material. I couldn't decide if I was going to go with the red or if I was going to keep the burgundy. I think the burgundy matches the curtains, but that's one thing. I've got to remake all of those because I'm sick of looking at them. And the last thing is I need to work on making apple fry pies. So like I said, that's kind of what I've got going on with my list. This is almost done, so let me go ahead and get this mixed up, and we will move on to the, I'll show you what they look like when they're done, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on the apple cake with no eggs, you know, because that might be a good thing to go ahead and learn what everything's going on. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and start the cake. Then I'm going to be using applesauce as a replacement for the eggs. You're supposed to, this recipe calls for 3 eggs. For every egg, what I got online, a substitute is supposed to be 1/4 cup of applesauce. This calls for 3 eggs, so I'll use 3/4 a cup of applesauce instead of the eggs. This is my own applesauce from $2.19. I need to use it up, so we'll be using this in place of eggs. And instead of, when it says to add water in the back, I never add water. I always use milk. I was taught this a long time ago. It helps the cake lighter and fluffier, and it really does work. I don't know if it's going to make a difference because I am definitely trying something different, but it usually works with the eggs. So let's go ahead and get this all mixed in together. Like I said, it calls for a cup of water. I'm using a cup of milk because this is always what I use. There's a cup of milk. And then it says to add 1/3 cup of oil. I already got that measured out. There's going to be the oil. And then the next thing I'm going to add to it is my applesauce. Like I said, I'll be adding 3/4 because it's supposed to be 1/4 of applesauce per egg. Let's go ahead and get this opened. Get this open. Oh, good night. It's got a good, oh, goodness, it had a good seal on it. Oh, y'all. Fresh applesauce. It smells amazing. Let's stir that up. That is what it looks like. It's amazing, y'all. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure out 3/4 a cup in here. 3/4. Yeah, that looks good. And I'm just going to go ahead and add it to my cake mix. And this is all the ingredients. So we're going to take this, mix this all together, and see how this turns out. Y'all, this is something new for me too. So guys, here's what it looks like after I mixed it up. This is a yellow cake mix, but you can tell it's definitely got the cinnamon in it from the applesauce. So I'm just going to go ahead, pour it in here, bake it at its normal time. I was going to do a layer cake, but I'm like, no, I've got so much other stuff to do today. This will be fine. And this can go in hubby's lunch next week if it makes it through the weekend. I guess that's going to be entirely depends on how this ends up tasting it. So it's very thick. I got a feeling it's going to come out a little denser than a normal cake. So let's get this in the oven, and I'll come back in about 30 minutes. Well, actually, I'll come back and show you a little later what it ends up turning out like. Remember, we're using the applesauce instead of the eggs. So guys, I'm back, and here is the cake that I made with the applesauce instead of the eggs. I think I used too much applesauce. I probably should have used a little bit less. I'm going because it's so dense. That's perfectly fine. What I'm going for is flavor here, and that's what we're going for, is that with eggs being so expensive, alternatives. Now, is this going to taste like a cake that normally would have eggs in it? Absolutely not. It's going to be different. Is it an alternative for when you don't have eggs, because you're not going to buy them for whatever the reason? I think so. So like I said, this is the cake. It did not rise as high as usually my cakes will rise up to here. You know, and give me a little bit of a little bump here. It didn't do that. Like I said, I kind of thought it was going to be a little more dense. That is where I stuck my knife in there to come out clean. What I'm going to do now is I've got this chocolate frosting right here. They had Publix BOGO, and they were 99 cents. That's why I buy this stuff when it does. I prefer my homemade, but this is good for a pinch. What I'm going to do now is cut this right fast before I put the frosting on it. So guys, I cut into this, and this is what we're looking at right now, okay? This is what we're looking at. It's not crumbly. That's a good thing, y'all. It's not crumbly. I'm going to shake it around. It's not more crumbly than a regular cake. It's very soft. I'm going to break into it right here where you can see. Can you see inside? It looks very good. Now, the thing is, it's going to be a taste test. Wow, y'all. I'm absolutely surprised. It tastes like a yellow cake. It does have a little bit of hint of cinnamon. Now, all the recipes I saw that said to use the applesauce as an alternative to eggs said to use unsweetened applesauce. I'm using what I got. So, y'all, it just tastes like a regular cake. It's just not as thick. It's a little bit more dense, but I think this is going to be a winner. I'm going to go ahead and put the frosting on it. Yo, I'm really surprised. I am seriously surprised at the flavor of it. I don't taste the applesauce at all. And my applesauce was made with Granny Smith apples, so I ended up putting a lot of sugar in it to make my applesauce sweet. This is not bad. I am like, honestly, I am totally shocked. And you know, you don't have to put the frosting on it, but I just thought I would do it anyway. And it didn't seem to make the cake any more less sweeter than normal. That makes sense? So this spreads beautifully like a regular cake. No problem here. So definitely, if ever time that I want to conserve my eggs and I want to do like a box cake, I will definitely, you guys, I will definitely be using applesauce instead of the eggs. So guys, here is what the cake looks like completely frosted. Looks really good, y'all. Look at that. It's very creamy. The flavor. Even without eggs and the applesauce in there, y'all, you wouldn't be able to tell. Even though it feels a little bit heavier, you don't taste the cinnamon, you don't taste the apple. I just taste the cake. And it is very moist. It's extremely moist. So guys, that is what I've done today. That is the eggless cake with applesauce. Turned out good. I have a ton of sausage balls, which will be my husband's breakfast. I can make a biscuit like this. It's about the best way I can make it. And I ended up making a lot of, I ended up making a ton of meatballs instead of a meatloaf because I forgot, honestly, I had a meatloaf in the oven. I've got Edie burgers cooking right here. This is going to be dinner for the next few nights and also for some prep meals. And if you come over here, here is my list done now. The only thing left I have is to make my blueberry muffins, the jar covers, and the apple fry pies. But it's about 3 o'clock now, so I'm not really sure if that's going to happen today. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to stop by with me this Saturday food prep day. I'd rather do it all now on a Saturday than have to deal with it later. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And definitely, guys, if you have the applesauce and it's in your cheaper area, cheaper for eggs, and you still want to make cakes, yeah, it's worth it, especially if you want something sweet. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Thank you so much for stopping by. God bless.